Hi, my name is Yaya. My team members are Wei Ting and Joshua. We're going over measuring the variability of chain ladder reserves and estimate summary. The main objective of the paper under the discussion is to compute the confidence interval for the outstanding claim reserves and for the ultimate claim amounts to help decide whether the chain ladder method is suitable or not. Therefore, the standard error and estimate of standard deviation was computed from the outstanding claim reserves to construct the confidence interval.
So generally, we have two ways of computing loss reserve. That is the chain ladder method and the expected loss ratio. And the combination of the chain ladder method and the expected loss ratio gives the Born-Ferguson method. But the Born-Ferguson method and expected loss ratio is not discussed in the paper that we are reviewing. The whole paper actually is in 6 parts. The first part is the introduction. The second part analyzes the assumptions under the chain ladder method. And the third and the fourth part goes into the variability of the claim amounts and comparing the 8 factors. And the fourth and the fifth chapter actually gives an illustrative example to demonstrate how these formulas that has been discussed earlier on in the previous chapters has been used. And the 6th chapter actually is the appendix, that is the detailed proof of the formulas that have been used in the paper. So 3 major assumptions that has been mentioned in this paper is independence, assuming there's independence of accidents, and then also assuming there has been unobserved claims. The next claim, the expectation of the next claim is actually the scaling of the claim by 8 to 8 factors, and the variance follows the same way. And 8 to 8 factor actually is a very important parameter that has been used in this paper. Actually, what it does, it helps us to compute the ultimate claim, and the ultimate claim compared with the observed claim or the paid claim gives us the reserve. And with this reserve, then we can compute the confidence interval. So the author actually used the standard error, which is the best approximation or the best estimate for the standard deviation, because we don't have full data set of the claim. And then he constructed a confidence interval using an expression for the claim, ultimate claim, and the reserve. He first tested the normal distribution, but it resulted in some negative values, which is not possible for reserves. And then he went on to use the log normal and computed the standard error for the log normal, and that works for computing the confidence interval. So the next slide will be taken over by Wei Ting.
Okay, so we're gonna have 2 examples to demonstrate how we calculate the edge-to-edge factor, and also we're gonna show how do we calculate the standard error. So first, by this table, by this given data, we will take a 0 to 1 factor for example, and so let me show you how do we calculate the 0 to 1 factor. So it will be the sum of the year one, or divided by the sum of the loss of the 0 year. So then we can get the 0 to 1 factor by calculation. And next, please. And so by this method, we can get the edge-to-edge factor year by year. And so next step, we're gonna calculate all the edge-to-edge factor. So once we get those, previous one, yeah. So once we get all the edge-to-edge factor, then we can calculate we can predict the loss for those years which haven't happened. So for example, if we want to calculate the first year of the 2021, then we can use the 0 year of 2021, which is 843, to times the 0 to 1 factor, which is 1.125, and we can get 950. And if we calculate, we use this 950 to times the age to age factor until the 6th year, then we can get the 6 years loss value will be 105. So next, the other example is we're gonna show how do we calculate a standard error, and we as this data we can see that the data we predict by using the loss times the age to age factor is not exactly the same of the real loss. So there will be some error. Next, please. So by calculating the total error year by year, we can get the standard error for each accident year. And next, we will get the standard deviation and variance as well. So since by the research that indicate that this is not a normal distribution, so we can get the confidence interval by the log normal distribution.
So yes, this paper actually goes into detail examining the confidence interval, but we also want to look at some of the current work that has been done in relation to the chain ladder method. So we just look at two papers that has been published recently. That's 2018. The first one was to address the sensitivity issues of the general multivariate chain ladder method. And the second one was used as a stochastic scenario generator to simulate arbitrary upward claims of the runoff triangle to observe the performance of the chain ladder method. And the conclusion of the author is that the last 2 or 3 8 factors of the chain ladder method does not rely much on claim observation, so making inference from it may not be very accurate. So he recommends using actuarial judgment instead of relying on a statistical inference. Thank you all for giving us a listening ear.